Lady Jane Grey's time and place of birth has been a source of dispute. Initially it has always been thought that Jane was born at Bradgate Park in Leicestershire around October 1537. But more recently it has been claimed that she may have been born as early as February 1537 but no later than May in London. Unfortunately, official birth records were not kept at this time, but calculations of her time of birth are based on the date of her execution when she was 17. Jane was the granddaughter of Henry VIII's sister, Princess Mary, and one of the king's best friends, Charles Brandon, the Duke of Suffolk. Jane also had two younger sisters, Lady Catherine and Lady Mary. They were all grandnieces to Henry VIII, great-granddaughters of Henry VII and cousins to Edward VI, Mary I and Elizabeth I, which gave them all a remote link to the line of succession. Jane was an academic, preferred to study rather than follow other popular traditions such as hunting. Jane had a broad education, including learning Greek, Latin and Hebrew from her humanist tutor John Aylmer and learning Italian from Michelangelo Florio. She became a committed Protestant from her education with Aylmer and from the influence of her father. In February 1547, Jane would become an attendant to Henry VIII's widow, Catherine Parr, at Sudderley Castle in Gloucestershire. Jane would stay here, with the uncle of Edward VI, Thomas Seymour, until Catherine's death from childbirth in 1548, where Jane would become chief mourner at Catherine's funeral. Jane would stay here, with the uncle of Edward VI, Thomas Seymour, until Catherine's death from childbirth in 1548, where Jane would become chief mourner at Catherine's funeral. Thomas Seymour would be arrested in 1548 and Jane's father would be interrogated continually by the Lord Council prior to Seymour's execution. It was at this time that Jane would be forwarded as to many suitors in marriage. At one stage her father proposed her as a bride to the Lord Protector's Edward Seymour's son, Lord Hertford. Eventually Jane would become engaged to Lord Guildford Dudley, a son of John Dudley, the first Duke of Northumberland, in 1553. The Duke of Northumberland was one of the most powerful men in the country and was the Lord President of the King's Council from 1549. The ceremony at Durham House on the 25th of May 1553 would be a triple wedding. Her sister Catherine and Catherine would marry Lord Herbert, and the sister of Lord Guildford, Catherine, would marry Henry Hastings, heir to the Earl of Huntingdon.